Alrighty folks, this is Alan recording another comprehensive Magic the Gathering Arena draft video. We're going to use up our 5k gold and do one more quick draft Kaldheim before we do Premier Draft War to Spark. Let's get some good value here. And this is bot draft, so again, we have enough time to go through our picks. And what do we have? The fine pleasure of opening pack 1, pick 1, not a bad rare. And white's a decent color in the set, even though it's considered the second worst. Sigrid is quite powerful. Obviously, I wouldn't really want to splash this card because it's a little bit ambitious, but it's pretty nice in a straight, like in a white aggressive deck, white blue, white red. Sometimes even I will play this in white green, even white black. Obviously, goes into any white deck. Some other decent uncommons: Bloodline Pretender for drafting berserkers, clerics, angels, or whatchamacallit. Elves can be quite nice, but yeah, it could be more. It's definitely more flexible than Sigrid, but you do need to kind of also commit yourself to a specific archetype. Whereas White Sigrid is just great in any other deck. Rune Crown is probably even more flexible, but these two. But I think, and it's a pretty good card. But I don't really like the power level of this compared to like something like Sigrid, since Sigrid is a pretty powerful interaction spell if you're trying to be aggressive or defensive, and it can definitely lead to blowouts. But the Rune Crown is also really strong if you don't like white and you'd rather stay open. So this is also a pretty good pick. The land is decent too, but you also need to sack something, and white-black is a color combination that's generally avoided in the set. The best common between struggles for Skemfar and Lintworm, I would probably take my first struggle over Lintworm since these can wheel. But this is a pretty powerful curve topper too, and kind of a sleeper in the set when it first started, because people looked at Honey Mammoth and Ikoria, and given how bad green was in Ikoria, they didn't really value it that highly. But in this set, it's very strong since there's not a whole ton of interaction that's cheap in this set that's efficient, and most of the creatures are small. So just a 4 toughness creature is already pretty solid in this set, and a 6/6 is even better. So yeah, I think the reasonable options in this pack would be Rune Crown, Bloodline Pretender, Sigrid, and also Struggle for Skemfar. And I think Sigrid has the highest power level of all of these cards. Not necessarily the most flexible, because it does commit you to white, which is a decent color, and I think it can be strong too. But and white is definitely pretty solid too. Not as much as red, green, or not as much as the teamer colors, but I still think I pick it here. Otherwise, if Sigrid was in this pack, yeah, I would take Rune Crown over Struggle, because it just again goes into any deck, and it's pretty powerful. It can search up a rune, attach it onto the crown, and then just permanently have that bonus on the crown. So yeah, I would probably take Rune over Bloodline Pretender and Struggle, but I would take Struggle over Bloodline Pretender. So let's take Sigrid here. Let's have some fun. After first taking Sigrid, we can end up just drafting red-white. And Frenzy Raider is a very good 2-drop. Don't sleep on this card. The moment you manage to boast once or twice, this already becomes a threat, and then the opponent has to either respect the Frenzy Raider or take out the boast creature. But yeah, just this, they have to definitely respect the Frenzied Raider, because yeah, it can just get out of hand, so they might be forced to use early removal that they could have used on a better creature in the late game for the Frenzied Raptor, because it can just get out of hand. So it seems like a really excellent 2-drop. Dream Devourer, not great. I think it's a trap. 0/3 is okay as a blocker. You don't really care about foretelling too much in black. Yeah, so this is a kind of a weird card. Replicating Ring can be nice if you're splashing or fixing. And then best commons, Iron Verdict for a white defensive deck, best in blue-white flowers or white-black control. And then I guess there's the Lintworm again, and also Snow-Covered Forest. So we're going to hook up the bot to our left with our green cards, because I think after picking Sigrid, a good follow-up would be Frenzied Raider, and red-white are the 2 colors that work the best together. And red-white, I think, is a tier 1 archetype when it comes together. So let's take a Frenzied Raider. Okay, there's Cull. All right. I mean, it seems like red-white is open. This is powerful. This is a powerful uncommon, and hopefully now by taking this, equipment get a whole lot better, because we can just kind of recur our creatures if they end up dying with an equipment, or enhance our tokens. So this is great. In this pack, the best card common is probably Rimewood Falls, since blue-green is the archetype that cares the most about snow, and this is just an on-color snowland, so this is excellent. But it's really between both of these, and again, we're leaning towards red-white, so let's just draft a straight, streamlined red-white aggressive deck over the green multicolor stuff, which does require a lot more skill, but Sometimes you just don't have the luxury and you open up a aggressive card instead. And here's just Fearless Liberator as a fine 2-drop. I think this card is strong. I mean, I think this card is good, but it's not like incredibly busted. Like, you don't, sometimes on turn 3 you don't really want to spend 3 mana just to make a 2/1 and boast. But if Fearless Liberator goes unanswered and there's not enough blockers to deal with this, or any removal spells, like you can just go wide enough with the boast ability, and then just get out of hand. So Fearless Liberator is also a threat that opponents might respect more often than not, even though, again, a 2/1 is not necessarily the best stat line, and there's a lot of blockers in your early game. But yeah, if you can go wide and keep boasting with this, you can just gain a ton of value, and they'll have to respect the Fearless Liberator. But there's also something to be said with just casting a Tuskeri Firewalker on curve instead. And then there's also Run Amok as an excellent common too. Do not sleep on this card. It could also be better than a Demon Bolt, but you would take Demon Bolt over this because Demon Bolt is spot removal, and that's a lot more flexible. But I think this is also a pretty powerful combat trick. And then Saw Coming is also pretty nice as a counterspell in the more controlling deck. But yeah, Fearless Liberator it is. Hopefully we can pick up those Run Amoks. And yeah, we'll take a Stalwart Valkyrie. Divine Gambit is not actually a bad card. I think it's okay. It's obviously pretty solid in the late game because you don't care, because they might not have too many good permanents to even get out in the late game. But it's pretty bad in the early game because you can just give them their powerful bomb that they can just play on curve, and it's pretty bad if you have to use this on defense. But if you are in the late game and you're already ahead, it's pretty solid because you can just exile their largest creature, and then sure, they can play maybe a creature with the same power level. But it's if they don't have a lot of cards in hand, they don't really have too many great permanents to cast. So it's pretty solid, but we're going to take a Valkyrie. This is an excellent flyer, and we can cast this for cheap if we do have a creature in the graveyard. There's also Draugur's Helm, great for the black aggressive decks. And yeah, I think the best card is the Helm by far. And another Lintworm, so yep. Don't want too many Lintworms, but 2 can be pretty solid. And I think it's the best Gear Shieldmate as an excellent 2-drop in the red-white deck, since it does make a token which synergizes with Cole the Forge Master. Here it's just a curve pick. I've been down the Axe Guard Brad Guard because it's basically a 6-mana 4/4 because you need to pay 2 mana Boast. It does have synergy with the Frenzy Raider, but you rather just play Craven Hoax, honestly, just as 4 mana 4/4s. And Starnheim Courser also been kind of low on because the 3 mana 2/2 is not a great stat line. Even with Evasion, I think with enough Run Amoks and equipments and Battlefield Raptors early on and Valkyries, we can just close out the game. So yeah, I think it's the best Gear Shieldmate for sure, even though it could fill the curve on 3. And we'll take on their Shieldmates. Not big fan of Iron Verdict in the white-red aggressive deck, since it's better in a much more defensive deck. Most of the creatures are going to stay untapped, so it's going to be hard to use this. But I do like this in blue-white flyers and black-whites, since there's a flying theme going on too, and they're much more controlling archetypes. We'll take another Shieldmate. Do we just take all the Shieldmates? I mean, I think this could be too excessive. I could even just speculate on Raider's Carve, which can be a fine aggressive card too. If we're looking to be aggressive, we don't care if our creatures get tapped too much. I mean, it's probably going to wheel anyways. I guess we'll just take another Shieldmate. We can always cut one in the future. But the Raider's Carve, if we do have a lot of 3-powered creatures, can be also pretty nice to help us ramp if we manage to get a land drop, but we'll see. I do like the Shieldmate over Story Seeker in these types of decks, since these can make tokens, which can be more relevant, but it's pretty solid as a 2-drop too, so we'll consider it. And we'll take our 4-drop finally, okay? We're heavily coming into red-white aggro, and we'll take our nice, if we pick up some nice sagas to loop, like the Showdown the Skulls, this is quite powerful. And we can also bring back runes to keep in mind if our runes just end up in the graveyard, and also our Bounding Goats is nice, but yeah, it's also definitely cuttable, but seeing this late is a sign that white is definitely open, and Run Amok pretty late. Our Mythic Common, Sleeper Common, actually not Mythic Common, but Sleeper Common in the red-white aggressive decks, or any red aggressive deck in general. And yep, taking in Common for the Vault. And yeah, I think we're committed to red-white. We're nowhere near any of the other colors, so I don't need to care about them too much. Okay, even a Shackles for a sideboard. And there it is. I mean, ask and you shall receive. The Master Skald, I was trying to reference the Showdown the Skalds in the last pack. It didn't sound too exciting when I said it, because it's a rare that's difficult to grab. but when you open it up, this has to be kind of like the biggest luck you can have. So yeah, Showdown's the nice late game card. Of course, in aggro deck, we kind of sometimes have to accept the inevitability that we're not going to win the late game against other decks with more value, but this is just this just makes it so that we also have some outs in the late game, not only as a card draw spell, but also as a way to enhance our creatures. Definitely don't want to cast this on curve right away. You rather just play out your creatures and then cast this later, because you will have more lands. You will have more lands to cast your spells that you end up exiling, and then more creatures to put counters and options onto. But this card is a bomb and easy first pick, even though it is multicolor. Other good cards: Cardar's Vicious Return, the land, Struggle. If it wasn't for Showdown of the Skulls, pack one, pick one, I would pick Struggle, but we'll take a Showdown here. Perfect for the deck. Ooh, a nice 3-drop. Okay, no respect for red-white. We might not be an Angels or Clerics deck, but this is still just a 3-mana 2/4 flyer, which is quite excellent. And if we pick up even more Clerics and Angels, it's even better. So I can even see an option of cutting a Shieldmate for an extra Story Seeker if that was to happen, just to have that extra life gain. And yeah, this is pretty powerful. Has a lot of upside and still a great card. Pack one, pick one. Like, would I take Path for the World Tree over Valkyrie? Maybe. But there's a chance that Path could even wheel, like if you end up in a green multicolored deck, because this doesn't get a lot of respect around the pod, and it's also pretty difficult to cast. But Valkyrie is excellent. Also, if Valkyrie wasn't in this pack, probably take Frostbite, but we'll take a Valkyrie, and it's also nice on turn 3 because we have a bit of a gap at 3 right now, and we'll take the Dwarven Hammer. This is even more excellent with Master Scald if it ends up getting into the graveyard somehow. And now runes look better since we can attach it onto the Dwarven Hammer. And it's just a 5-mana 5/1 that has trample, to be honest. And just having the equipment to move around is even better. So, yep, red-white is definitely solid, very open. And this is one of the great uncommons, too, in this set. Now this is a bit of a blank. I don't even think I'll ever play Immersturm Raider. Maybe somehow we end up splashing black for Firja. Hard splashing it, but I highly doubt. If it's a hate draft, yeah, I would take Firja, because of the life gain is also a decent splash card for those multicolor decks. There's a Dwarven Reinforcements. There's just a Fearless Pup I can take. We don't have any 1-drops. I don't think we're going to be anywhere near 3 snow here. Dwarven Reinforcements is just fine. But we do have a Frenzy Raider that could use some Boast creatures, honestly. So don't hate the Fearless Pup. And it's just low on curve. And although I prefer the Battlefield Raptors, if we do pick up multiple equipments and enchant it onto the Fearless Pup, it's pretty difficult to deal with. And then Dwarven Reinforcements is also fine, but it's just a 4-drop, which we kind of generally want to avoid, usually in a red-white deck, because we just want to keep the curve low. So just take a Fearless Pup. And now we'll take our Starnheim Courser, which could be a fine 3-drop. Best card in pack: Behold, Bergstrider, Frostpower for blue-red, but these excellent commons in blue are also great. And Battlefield Raptor, our mythic common, our excellent white common, probably the best white common. No, the best white common is Bound and Go. This is probably second place, but it's only great with equipments. We currently don't have any, but I'm hoping we can pick up a few. No Tormentor's Helms, no picks. Like, I would definitely take a Gold Vein pick here, but now over Stalwart Valkyrie. That's an excellent flyer. Yeah, and some bot is probably taking up our picks, or maybe we're just not grabbing any. But let's just put these to the sideboard for now. So the only thing that's kind of lacking in this deck is not only equipments, but removal. We only have like really Run Amok as kind of a removal spell, and Sigrid. So we definitely need to make those kind of a priority for this deck in the next pack. Might even play Haggy Bob for both, but triple 5-drop is kind of a lot in a red-white aggressive deck. Doomscar could be reasonable as a fine filler 3-drop, but I'd rather just have the haste guy. So we'll see. Could use some Demon Bolts, could use some Frostbites, could also use some equipments, but our creature quality is definitely really high, and we also have Showdowns as a fine late game card, and Dwarven Hammer. Here, I definitely think I take the Gold Vein pick here, because we do have a Battlefield Raptor and Fearless Pup. I also like the Scary Firewalker a lot, because it does curve out well the Fearless Liberator and a nice upgrade over the Starnheim Courser. But in this deck, I really think we really need a Gold Vein pick, because we do have a Cole here, and if we don't ever pick up an equipment, this deck could be kind of lackluster and won't have its full potential Whereas we can always play these 3 drops as filler, but we definitely need equipment here more than anything else. So it's really between these two. Pack one, pick one. This is a terrible pack. I would probably just take Bergstrider here. But yeah, Govane pick. And Battlefield Raptor, Fearless Pup, and the Flyers are quite nice. So gonna take our Govane pick. More like a 3-drop because we play on turn. We pay 3 mana to do the whole potential. Squash, no, because we don't have any shapeshifters and we're not paying 5 mana for a removal spell. Probably just another Stalwart Valkyrie, and maybe we can cut the Axguard Braggart. But now the Frenzy Raider looks a lot worse in this deck, given our lack of boasts. So I'm going to put the boast package aside and decide whether or not we even want them in the deck. But yeah, it has to be the Valkyrie over the rest of these. We have enough 2s already, and then we could use more flyers, and this card is just great. And another Cole, but not a lot of weapons. This could be just a run amok, because in this deck we don't have too many ways to enchant, and we don't have many equipments. Like, this is great, we had more equipments and auras, but honestly, it's not like looking like we're gonna get a bunch of them in the third pack. Like, we do have a Dwarven Hammer, but it's just mostly gonna be a 2-mana 2/2, I feel like. So, and we could use more removal, and run amok can be decent removal in this deck. So I'm gonna take the run amok over Cole, but definitely Cole would be the better choice. Nice dual land. Actually, there's another Golvane pick now. There's also Golmod Champion, but it's fine. Nothing exciting. I don't think Hagi Mob is going to make it, and we don't even need to run Braggart now with triple Valkyrie. So I think it's just a Golvane pick here, to just add in another equipment for our flyers to kind of just go over the top with. The dual land would also be pretty sweet, but the Golvane pick I think is a lot more important, and we can definitely adjust our mana to maybe just cast our spells without too much fixing. But yeah, Golvane pick or land. I would probably take land if it wasn't for the Golvane pick, but gotta take our second equipment while we can. And yeah, I love seeing the Firewalker. There's also Raven Wings, but we have a lot of flyers here. So now the Frenzy Rare actually looks pretty decent now, although we are still lacking Boast, and the stupid glitches in the way, but we're definitely not playing the Braggart. Yeah, let's take the Frenzy Rare. We can always cut a Tuskegee Walker if we want the Boast package. This glitch is annoying. Do we need a second Master Skull? It's pretty clunky. Although we can get back to showdowns, maybe one is just enough. Just take a Raider's card for the sideboard. And I do like the Breakneck Berserker over the Doomscar Oracle. There's also another Fearless Pup to lower our curve, which is also quite reasonable as well. I actually don't hate it. With double Golvane pick, it's also quite solid, and now the Frenzy Raider actually looks better. But I also wouldn't mind the Breakneck Berserker, but could use it to lower the curve. Don't think we're playing the Raven Wings, because again, we have enough flyers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we have enough flyers. I think it's overkill. Maybe just take the Warhorn Blast as a sideboard option. But we'd also have double Run Amok as a pump trick as well. Do I want another Starnheim Courser? The 3s are looking good, and it's kind of clunky. I'll take a Valor. It actually could be main deckable, but I'll put it in the sideboard. And I'll take my Flyer here. Sure, and I'll take whatever. Doesn't really matter. I hate looking at... Ooh, even the land wield. Perfect. So now we have some good mana fixing. Alright, so this deck looks awesome. I think it definitely has the potential to get to 7. And looks quite powerful. And I'm happy to showcase another red-white Boros draft for you guys. Although I'd rather be in the green multicolor deck, so I might fire off another Kaldheim or something eventually, but we'll see. Okay, so the question is, do we want the Boast package? What is this doing here? I hate this stupid glitch. Why is it here? I don't need an Invoke of Divine. I guess it's in the sideboard. Let's hit the done and see if we can get rid of this glitch. It's actually still here. What is going on? I might need to restart. I might need to restart the system. Okay, this is just going to be a part 1 draft portion. There's going to be a part 2 video. I need to get rid of this somehow. Anyways, looking at the deck, I'm sorry you guys had to look at this. But yeah, let's see how we're going to make our cuts. This doesn't even fix it. We definitely want 1 Master Skull. We definitely want the 4 flyers here. I like the Tuskegee Firewalker. This is also a 5-drop. I like the Courser, and I like some of these 3s. The Run Amoks, we definitely need them because we're lacking removal and interaction. The picks are almost like 3-drops too, because you need to pay 2 mana and 1 to equip. The question is, do we want to keep the Frenzied Raider? We do have 1, 2 Boast creatures, 3, 4 Boast creatures. Don't know if that's enough, but it might just have higher upside than like I mean, what else would I throw in the deck? Paggy Mob, Axguard, Braggart. I'd rather have the Flyers on 4, but it could be arguable that we want to Braggart on 4 to just make the Frenzy Raider better, but I still rather just have the Flyers. So, okay, maybe we just go just like this. Even though we might not boast with a Frenzy Raider, it's just a filler 2/2 that we might not mind casting on curve, and their opponent might just respect this. But if we can curl out Fearless Pup into Frenzy Raider, I guess that's a pretty neat combo. So I think I just like it the way it is, and we can just cut a land since our curve is kind of low, and Go Vein Pick can also help us ramp. The other question is, do we need double Go Vein Pick? The only real uh, the only rewards is like our Flyers and then the coal for it. It does make it more consistent, and with double Fearless Pup, it does make it better. Same with the Battlefield Raptor and some of the tokens we get from the Best Gear Showmate. So double Go Vein Pick looks awesome in this deck. So looking at the sideboard, can we consider Raiders card? We have a lot of 2 power early on, so it's not going to be easy to crew. Also, with the equipments running around, we don't really want to equip onto this because it'll just fall off. So no way, Jose. Could take the Haggy Mob to make it this better, but I like the Master Scald having the potential to get back the Showdown of the Scalds. But there's an argument for having the Haggy Mob for this, because like, do we really even need to loop back to Showdown of the Scalds? We also don't have too many auras and artifacts to even get back. And just having the 1-mana boast ability, the ability to do 1 damage to any target can be pretty powerful, even if it goes faced. And just making the Frenzied Raider better can be an argument for this. And it's just a better stat line having the extra power. So I can actually see the argument of throwing in the Haggy Mob over the Master. But there's also upsides of the Master, just retrieving our Showdowns, or retrieving a Dwarven Hammer or Go Vein Pick that ends up in the graveyard in case of Broken Wings. But most green decks are going to main deck the Mask Vandal, which exiles their artifacts anyway, so it's not going to be that great. So I can actually see Cast getting rid of Master Skull just for the Haggy Mob as a better 5-drop that has Boast ability, making our Frenzied Raider better. So I think I'm definitely down for that. But it's kind of rare having Master Skull loop down Showdown, but the potential is great. But I think this has a lot more upside with what we're going for as our aggressive game plan. But I can definitely see putting the Master Skull back in. And yeah, there's also an argument of throwing in the Asgard Braggart to make the Frenzy Raider better. But with at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Boast creatures now, I don't think we necessarily need to. And just having the Evasive Flyers on turn 3 is even better. And there's also an argument cutting a 2-drop for the Braggart, but we do have 4 4-drops already. And I think, again, this is a 16-lander, and I think we just keep it even split. Yeah, I think we want to... Actually, no, we want to slightly favor white in the early game, right? We have both white and red, but looking at the mana base, it's saying that we need a little bit more white, so I think we want to keep it slightly favoring planes, but just keep it still a little bit even. So this seems fine. And there's also argument for Valor, but I don't really like it. Like, I guess the Valor can be nice with the Masker, but this, you really need to put this onto a creature, honestly. It's actually not unplayable, actually. I can see the argument of cutting the Best Gear Shieldmate for the Valor to Worthy. It's actually pretty decent, actually. So then maybe the Master Scald gets better, but then I guess the Frenzy Raider gets worse if we don't have the extra Boast creature available. And this is not really a card that I see a lot of red-white drafters want to put in the deck. So it's kind of, I don't know how marginal it is. It could be marginal, just having the Valor and the Master Scald combo. It does give me an extra flyer, but we have 4, 5, 6, 7 flyers already, plus the Dwarven Hammer can give us trample later on. So yeah, we might not even need this. We should just be fine with what it is. So yep, let's do this. And Showdown should be our picture. And yeah, let me restart the system and make a part 2 video. So thank you guys for watching the part 1 video of the draft. I'm sorry you guys had to look at this dumb Invoke the Divine glitch going on. Yeah, it's there's not much I can do if Magic the Gathering Arena developers are still in a small indie company in the beta testing phases. That's just a joke, of course. But yeah, see you guys in the part 2 video.